Very good morning to you once again. Let's continue the conversation around the ANC Secretary General and indeed the former President Jacob Zuma's defiance of the Constitutional Court order to appear before the Zondo Commission. On the line is Dr. Mavuso Msimang, an ANC veteran. Dr. Msimang, so the point around the SACP, I want us to pick up on that. Is this a change of language from the SACP about those who were responsible for alleged state capture to be held to account? Are they changing their political stance here? Should we read that into Solly Mapaila's latest comments?
Yeah, I've just listened to Solly Mapaila and I'm amazed. I mean, it's really shocking. Deputy Chief Justice Zondo did consider the request for him to recuse himself, and based on whatever, and this is always the discretion of the sitting judge, he decided that the plea for him to withdraw was not justified, and therefore he continued after taking that into account. I don't understand what other people are saying now. What should have happened?
So it's political expediency. So why could the SACP be changing their language all of a sudden?
I do not know. What is really said about this whole thing is that factional things within the ANC. I'm surprised that the SACP is dragging itself into this now. Are just taking the country, holding the country to ransom. Unthinkable positions are being taken against the interests of the country. You have the Constitutional Court having made a decision. You've got a judge in charge of the commission having made all the decisions that he is empowered to do. And suddenly we hear, no, maybe they should have considered. This is really just so not on. It's not on. It's not a deal. It can't be.
Dr. Msimang, the Constitutional Court berated the Deputy Chief Justice Zondo for being soft on the former president. What should he do now?
We should continue with the arrangements as they stand. None of these pleas, which are really self-serving, which have to do with handling issues of factions in my organization, should be taken on board. South Africans are really being disrespected by this posturing. It should not. The Zondo Commission must continue, carry out its tasks as if it doesn't hear this noise. It is totally unacceptable. What is even more amazing is that the highest decision-making of the ANC in between conferences, the NEC, is sitting on its hands, waiting for a meeting to take place sometime in the future. When Rome is burning, South Africa is burning, and the ANC is just fiddling. It is just unthinkable that this should be happening.
And it's quite interesting that you have some choice words for the ANC NEC, quote unquote, sitting on its hands. Well, the Secretary General broke his silence yesterday. Perhaps those choice words, should they also be targeted at the president who leads this party? Why is it quiet around a former president disrespecting the highest court in the land?
Well, you know, the truth is that we have a problem there. We want to recognize it or not. There exists a problem of disagreement right at the top, right among the top six officials. This should have been a straightforward matter. I suspect the president should do what you're saying he should do, and then be opposed by these people, because the president cannot be seen to be part of a group that reserves its opinion about the position that's been taken by Jacob Zuma to defy the Constitution. It's just unthinkable that the ANC would reserve judgment on that. It's something that should have been condemned, and it should have been told to toe the line, to do what every other South African does. He may not like the decision, but he's got to carry it out.
Well, Ace Magashule's comments, what should the public make of those? Should the public pay mind to what he said?
Oh, the public must ignore it completely, absolutely completely. If the ANC was doing its duty, ANC Magashule, our SG, should not be SG at this moment. It clearly should be on suspension. It should have stepped aside, because in terms of the resolution of the ANC itself, NEC, in terms of the resolution of Newzroom, in terms of the constitution of the ANC, in terms of these documents, he should not be SG right now, having been charged with serious allegations of criminality.
Well, that's where you also come in for the hammering as the leadership of the ANC, or perhaps, as young people would say these days, as the eldership of the ANC. The understanding is that the top six has decided to take their responsibility of coming up with the guidelines on the step-aside issue. As you say, Ace Magashule should have long been suspended from the party or been told to basically step aside. You are now reported to be the people who are helping the top six come up with these guidelines. So should you also not take responsibility for Ace Magashule remaining in his position and therefore espousing such views?
Yes, I did hear that a number of older people, veterans, have been asked to handle this matter. Their names have been published, I think. It's not... So I don't know. I think they must be given a chance to sit down and deal with this matter. They were only appointed recently. They should do the right thing. I can't preempt it, but it's very clear what should happen here. We are guided by decisions that are made by organs or conferences of the ANC or the constitution of the ANC. That has to be implemented. I have no doubt that in the end that's what they are going to say.
Just out of interest, Dr. Msimang, you could tell me, well, that's not something I'm willing to entertain, but it appears that this weekend, the former president is going to have tea with the leader of the economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema. What do you make of that?
Well, it's really up to Julius to invite him. I attach absolutely no significance to that.
Dr. Mavuso Msimang, thank you very much for your time, an ANC elder, talking to us about the issues plaguing the party that he committed his life to.